Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Atai. It's such a pleasure to be here, and we are having the show live. Excuse me. We're streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, to West Africa, to Africa, and the entire world. The Good Morning Education Show is your show that brings to you topical issues, conversations within and around the world of education. We always have a great time on the show as we learn together, share together, and actually push ourselves to grow together. On the show, we have fantastic and amazing experts who share their views. We come together to share their views on the subject matter of discussion, and we always give opportunity for you to make your contributions and also ask your questions as we go on the show. Today will not be different. We will be having another interesting conversation. We currently are on a special broadcast series this week, and this broadcast series will take us into dissecting several subject matter that we believe will address your professional and personal development. Will give you value for time, value for money, value for study. And please do not hesitate to ask your questions on the show. I will look forward to receiving your comment as well. And also tell us your location where you're streaming from. This is the Good Money Education Show, and we run the show Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. West African time, Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. West African time, and Sundays, we have it on Sundays in the evening, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. West African time. It's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. So please tell someone that the Good Morning Education Show is here. It's always a pleasure to host you and the entire world on the show. Now, once again, I just want to run through what to expect today. We will be looking at some headlines on the news in the world of education, and then we'll take some time out to look at the subject matter um, of discussion, and from there we'll take it further into the show. Please remember, we're looking forward to seeing your comments. We're looking forward to welcoming you, and if this is your first time on the show, we look forward to hearing from you. Is that fine? Yes. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. That's our desire to always have you on the show. Thank you. And we go to the first. We go straight to the first headline. This is coming from This Day Live, and this is talking about um, MTN Foundation bringing dreams alive through scholarship. MTN Foundation has always been on the drive to empowering people through different change projects. And this one is not a strange one. And we need to commend the MTN Foundation for this. It's an encouraging thing to have organizations who spend time to also think of giving back to society in the capacity that they can. And scholarships are beautiful options and ways to make this happen. you know and now we have another interesting conversation, and I'm happy that we're having this kind of conversations or this kind of news um, on the show today. um, we have Agubata empowering youths in STEM towards driving industrialization. If you've been following the show, you would know that we've spent some time talking about STEM, and the dynamics of how we can build the kind of literacy that we really should have. And this is kind of a good, way to get started. Dr. Felicia Agubata, as an assistant general manager at the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, and she's also the former president of the Association of Professional Women in Nigeria. She's so passionate about equipping youth and with the skills of building creative reasoning and thinking and all that. So she has actually began advocating for STEM education so that that would drive industrialization amongst other issues. And having someone like that share our thoughts and share the desire is kind of soothing, because we need this kind of conversations actually. We need it from time to time. Let's take a bit um, of another news, and this time around, Nasarawa State is now in the news. Nasarawa State is partnering, you know, is partnering. The Nasarawa State government has partnered with ITF, that's the Industrial Training Fund, to train instructors. You know, the state's newly established Vocational and Skill Acquisition Institute at Lafia, which was inaugurated recently by the President Muhammadu Buhari. A delegation from the headquarters of ITF, led by the Director General, Mr. Joseph Ari, was in the office of the Deputy Governor, Dr. Emmanuel Akabe, to finalize the partnership sequel to a letter by the state government technical requesting for technical what do you call it now? Technical funding and support for the institute. And this is kind of commendable. And I believe that it will witness, you know, Nasarawa State also making sure that they're able to get needed support, as the case may be. So that is to Nasarawa State and the environment. So we want to appreciate them, and of course also this also symbolizes the fact that we will now begin to experience projects that can actually be sustainable, because sometimes you think about the way projects are being executed and it looks like it was an afterthought, it wasn't planned, you know. And yes, we really have a lot of news items that are kind of encouraging today, you know, kind of encouraging today. Let's look at another headline. If you're joining us, welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. We're excited that you're here, and we're talking about a lot of things around the news. So the next headline is talking about TED Fund to partner, uh, TED Fund to partner Pan African University on AU agenda. You know, um, so that's very important, and I just spent some time to give you a preview on that. It says that Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, Sonny Echono, says the fund was ready to forge a relationship with the Pan African University to push the African Union agenda and the university forward. Echono stated this in Abuja while paying host to a team of the AU Commission for Education led by Prof. Mohammed Bel Osin on a courtesy visit. I should also let you know that the government of Nigeria actually thinks in that direction, promoting technology, and we are in the process of establishing a national institute here in Abuja. This is just coming on the heels of that visit, and I would say well done to AU for that. Then we have another headline, and this particular headline is talking about UNICEF. 70% of Nigerian children suffer learning crisis. Um, that's coming from UNICEF, and well, it's a sad reality, but that's what we have to contend with every time. And we hope that as people keep providing solutions, we are able to also get to bring ourselves out of this crisis. You know, out of children's schools, one learning crisis, another. It's just a sad thing out there. So moving on, we're going to have another headline, and this time around, we are not going to ASU. You um, a lot of people have actually looked at the issue of ASU as really a national crisis, if we are able to say that. It says ASU Union Youth Staff go spiritual. They beg God to intervene in the industrial action. That's the strike. So now we have now found out that people have now decided to take on the issue of the strike and the federal government dynamics into prayers. And we hope that those who have done this will be able to share their testimonies in the shortest possible time. Um, this is sometimes where people feel that they're extremes, in the dynamics. So we've not heard us to go to God in prayers for academic excellence. We've not heard them go to God in prayers for a change in curriculum, but they are going to God in prayers for the sake of payment and increase or agreement by this federal government. This is quite laughable, and I believe that we need to stop mocking ourselves, as the case may be. Well, as to your staff go spiritual, beg God to intervene. I hope it's the God that I'm thinking about. All right, so I move on to the next headline, and this is still on ASU. And thank God that we're not starting with this kind of headlines because it can be a bit depressing and a bit how do you call that now? Encouraging, you know. So you have as to strike, some things are above me. Ingige cries out. Now, when you say some things are above me, it seems like um, I don't know. So why would that be something that we'll have to wait for how many weeks before we know? So Chris Ingige, the minister of Labour and Employment, says he has no control over the current impasse between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. Ngige said some things are above his control because he's not the Minister of Education. He spoke when the government representative of 2009 Federal Government/University Based Union Agreement Renegotiation Committee led by the chairman, Prof. Mimi Briggs, visited him in Abuja. Describing himself as a conciliator, Ngige said he can't dictate to those at the Ministry of Education. As a conciliator, I have to make use of labor instruments at my disposal. The bosses in the Federal Ministry of Education do not feel the strike. There are things that are above me. I am not the Minister of Education. I cannot go to the Education Minister and dictate to him how to run his place. He said, ASU has been on strike for months now with no end in sight. The union is clamoring for an improvement in their working welfare. Now, this is just to show you what is going on, where people now begin to pass blames and people begin to trade blames and people begin to. So I think it's a sad reality that this is what we're facing. Honestly, it's a sad reality. Very sad. All right, so that is the end of the news element on the show today. We will be going straight to the conversation of the day. And the conversation of the day is quite an interesting one. Um, We're talking about achieving your biggest dream yet. Achieving your biggest dream yet. You know, it's very important for people to recognize that dreams do come true. And a lot of people have actually agreed to that fact that dreams do come true. However, when it now comes to what type of dream, when it comes to the size of dream, when it comes to the nature of dreams, people tend to now change or drift from the statement that dreams come true, but they now add on unknowingly, they now had this subtle statement dreams come true to some, dreams come true to few. And I think that this is because there's always some factors that begin to show up when people begin to talk about the major dreams that their lives really represent, the major dreams that they really are about, the major things that they really, 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 want to partake in. Dreams do come true. We need to agree to that fact. Dreams do come true. But then the question now is, how do we achieve our biggest dream yet? I think that this will take me to a conversation I once had with one of the people I had coached once, and she painted a very good, perfect picture of what you should consider as a dream. Now, at that point in time when I had that conversation with her, a dream was not just to be seen as something that you hope or you desire to achieve, but it was also something that had its own coded instructions with it. And one of the things that I'd like to share with us on the show today is that beyond seeing and accepting the fact that dreams do come true, we must accept that they don't just come true, but dreams themselves are a major pointer, of our belief, right? And if you want to achieve your biggest dream, the biggest dream yet, meaning that, of course, that's not going to be that's not going to be your forever biggest dream, because things will still come, you will still achieve more. That's the plan. How do we achieve your biggest dream yet? Automatically, what that means is that we as a people, we are able to identify our dream and believe the dream. You see, a lot of things can happen when belief is in place. A lot of things happen when belief is in place. Belief is almost like the seed and the root of a lot of fruits that you see. Hello, KK. Good morning. KK, good morning. Oh dear. So we believe she'll connect with us again. So when we talk about dreams, and I said belief is like the seed to the mother of all fruits. You have to understand that the bigger the dream, the bigger the belief. Belief must be something that you create. You must understand it's not just something that you have. Belief is a subject of creation. KK, good morning.
Rotimi, your volume is very low. So I don't know if you're speaking, but I honestly can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Is it better now? Kiki, can you hear me? Hello.
I can't hear you at all.
You can't hear me at all.
Let me try and leave and come back. That's why I left the first time because I really can't hear you.
Wow. Okay. I hope you can hear me now. Kiki, is it better now?
Yes, it's definitely better now.
So I
It's
hope
still
I'm
low,
not
but
just
it's better.
okay. I'll check. I've checked the setting, but still okay. So we're talking. Welcome to the show. We're talking about achieving your biggest dream yet. And one of the things I was sharing before you joined was the fact that belief is something that we must bring to what's called the belief factor. The belief
Hmm.
factor is very critical in achieving our dreams. In fact, I had to even say that people don't sometimes might not know that belief is something you create. It's like a seed. It's not just something that just exists in itself. It's a seed. It's a creation. So let's hear your thoughts on the topic achieving your biggest dream yet.
Yeah, I mean, as it says, if I look at the word achieving biggest dream, then it means that we need to first of all have a dream, and then to achieve the dream means to actually put action to the dreams, to that idea, to that hope that is, right there deep on the inside. So to be able to achieve it, you need to really, it's not wishful thinking. Achieving anything is not wishful thinking. We actually have to say to ourselves, what is this going to take? What are the skill sets I need to have? What's the first step? What's the second step? So we really need to begin to almost like break up that dream, break up the dream and look at it as action points, as specific things that need to be done. And that's how we need to be able to achieve our dream. So those are my initial thoughts on the topic. You need to first of all at least have a dream. You need to then break it up into steps to know that, okay, so action points, right? And say, okay, and a dream has several different elements to it, which is the beautiful thing about dreaming. It starts somewhere and then something else happens and then it just goes on and on and on. So we need to be able to really um, almost like draw an end to end of what the dream would look like, and then begin to put pen to paper and begin to actually just pull all of those things down and say, what do I need to do? Who do I need to work with? Chunk the goal almost so that we're sure that we can truly get to that place where we need to begin to see that it is achievable, first of all, in our mindset. Then we then need to begin to take decisive steps towards making it happen. All right.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I was also in the introduction, I actually spent some time, sharing a friend's view when it comes to dreams, and she was saying something that dreams are not just the things that we desire or that we hope to have, but there are some unwritten instructions that come with dreams. And
Mm-hmm.
she said that dreams for her, she used the acronym. She said dreams actually means driving real expectation at my speed.
Mm.
That's D for driving, R for real, E for expectation, sorry, A for art, M for my, and then S for speed. Which almost kind of looks like what you said when you say break up the dream and look at action point. Because sometimes people tend to be pressured,
Mm-hmm.
or how do I put it? You just feel like
That's the
you're
word.
under due pressure. Your dream is big, another person's dream, and then you are not driving your own expectation at your speed. So you just feel this is not going to work, or things are not working for you because you're just looking at another person's drive, another person's milestone, another
Mm-hmm.
person's achievement. So really driving expectations, and I want you to try to maybe paint a picture for the audience. How do we begin to understand that it's our job, it's our duty to drive expectation and profitably at our speed?
How do we do what?
How do we drive expectations, our own expectations?
Right. I mean, that's a really interesting thing, right? I mean, to drive your own expectations, which are aligned to your dreams. So it's not just general expectations. We need to align them to our dreams. I would say that we need to first of all ask ourselves if that dream really is valid. If it is valid, then we need to, I mean, some of these things that we just talked about, how to align them, how to say, oh, this is the first thing. Driving it at your own speed then becomes a reality, because you can actually say to yourself, this is the first thing that I need to do. For me, it starts with my mindset. What do I believe in? Do I believe in myself? What are the things that people have said about me that I need to break down? Because sometimes the reason why we have those really unrealistic expectations of ourselves is that, like you said, we're riding on people's conditioning. And you need to be able to get to that point where you actually break apart people's conditioning and say to yourself, what is truth about myself? You need to begin to define your own truth, define your own success, right? And then keep that in focus. I say to people, your vision is the picture of the future that you're looking at. But it doesn't mean that you don't have several pictures about the different areas of your future. So in this particular area, keep looking at that picture and then begin to draw it out. Begin to say to yourself, put a timeline to things. So for me, I always like to come with the task, uh, the task model, because I see that works a lot for me. And I teach it to my friends, I teach it to my colleagues, I teach it to everybody who wants to listen, right? So in that your dream, say to yourself, what is the T? So task is TASK. So what is the T? The T is the task. So in part of your dream is to maybe identify, collaborate with people. So the task is collaborate with people. And then sorry, star, not task. Star, I keep mixing those two up. Task is used for something else. So star is what I'm talking about. So what's your situation? Your situation is that you have a dream that you want to do something with, and you need to collaborate with people. So your task is to say, who are the people I need to collaborate with? Where are they? How do I connect with them? And so those are your tasks. And then your specific action points is to list each person. Rotimi Eyitayo, he has an Instagram page. He does Good Morning Education show. He does a lot of this. This is his email. Okay, so I need to, first of all, start by, so that's your actions, right? So you identify the situation where you're in. You have looked at the task, which is the big picture, your action points, and then those 1, 2, 3, that's like the chunking of the steps, right? And in doing that, you don't only just write the steps, you actually put a timeline to it, right? So with the timeline, you then begin to say to yourself, I need to do this at this time, at this time, at this time. And that then becomes your driver, right? Because if you see that you're actually achieving the realistic timelines, and I say realistic because sometimes we put timelines again, and to be honest, some of these things, right, we learn by failing. When we do the first time, it doesn't work, then we say, okay, what, let's adjust our expectations to meet our realities. So by the time I see that, oh, I haven't connected with Mr. Rotimi and let to reconnect with him in 1 week, oh my goodness. So what do I need to do? I can then look abroad, look further. And that's the thing with your dreams, because they're yours, right? You are setting the expectations. There's nothing wrong with being flexible in how you do some of the things that need to get done. So I then look further afield, right? Why? What am I doing? I'm still looking at my action, because when I can make those actions happen, then the result is that I can connect with Mr. Rotimi. I can pitch my idea to him and maybe get his buy-in, So in managing expectations, you need to first of all say to yourself, it's not about anybody else, it's about you. Once you agree that it is about you, that honestly is the minute, if I can use that word, that you break free of everybody else's shackles. And then you need to begin to do those things that you have said you can do. And that's how you reach the results. There are always expectations, but the question is, are these expectations going to be a driver, or are they going to be something that is like quicksand that just swallows you whole? So for me, I use other people's expectations sometimes as my driver. Sometimes I discount it, because if it's not going to do anything for me, then what's the point? I'm just going to be, where what I can't do. And I just wanted to quickly add this, Rotimi. Sometimes in our dreams, in those actions, there are different phases, in moving on to mastery. Mastery is now seeing the results that you want to get. There's the awareness phase, the knowledge phase, the developmental phase, and the mastery phase. I say this because it's so important, right? There are times where we don't realize that we're ignorant. And in that place where we're not even in the awareness phase, we're ignorant about what really needs to be done, which is why you just don't have a dream. You actually need to outline your dream. When you outline your dream, you move from ignorance into awareness. When you're in that space of awareness, honestly, that's where you now become, consciously incompetent, because you're in a space where you're like, can I do this? Your unconscious incompetence comes at you. You can actually see them very clearly. And that's when you then begin to break them down and say, oh, what do I need to do? How do I need to collaborate? What are the trainings maybe I need to quickly go for? Do I need a coach here? Do I need a mentor here? Or who, so all of those things, intern here, all of those things come in. But you first of all need to even be aware of those things that you need to do. When you're aware, which moves you into that space of conscious incompetence, because initially you're in a space of unconscious incompetence. You just feel you can, the whole world is at your fingertips. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Till you then begin to say, let me do it. That's when you go into the phase of awareness of what you really need to do. And then you're consciously, you're more aware of your incompetence because you're just not able to do certain things, right? And that's very, very important. Of course, from there, you move into the state of knowledge, of development, and then you move into mastery. But you need to, first of all, get into that awareness phase where you're like, what do I need to do? And that's the first step I feel a lot of people miss. We don't spend a lot of time in that awareness phase, really identifying the things that you need to do. What are your drivers? Where do you need to go? How do you need to get it done? Who's going to be supportive of you? You need to recognize that your incompetence is okay at that point. But it's not okay to stay there, right? You then need to move forward if you truly want to see the results that you hope to see. Yeah. So for now, that's it for me. Let me hand over the mic back to you.
Wow, that's a speed masterclass powered by Dr. KK. KK, did you hear what I said?
I cuckoo heard you. I was laughing here behind the mic.
I was just typing as one point I said, you better listen that type. Yeah. Welcome Olushola Olumide to the show. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Rotimi. Good morning, KK. Great submission there. I don't laugh my heart out for where I lay here. A great one. I think we supposed to package this in, go sell them for all these higher institutions, pre-college sessions.
Hello? Mr. you have come.
Yes, now, because if we know all this earlier in life, we will not be roaming on the ocean of life without focus or without direction. So it is not really a crime to be ignorant. However, perpetuating one ignorance becomes a crime.
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome. Nice to hear your voice once again. So to you, Rotim, thank you.
Thank you. And I love the fact that KK, you stressed the point. You said, sometimes honest conversations are expected of us, where you can ask yourself, is this dream valid? And probably people out there might be wondering, what then is a valid dream? What is an invalid dream? Can there be a process to identifying or distinguishing which is which? Let's hear from KK, then I'm coming to Olushola.
I always say to people, and there's this thing that I teach in my coaching sessions for school administrators and leaders. It's called a business model Canva. It is such an easy thing to do, but people rarely do it. And what happens if you use your business canvas model, I beg your pardon, is that it's almost like you're doing a business case, right? Depending on your dream, whether it is money making or not, you need to have a business case. And I say to people, if you rush off and do a business plan, you don't even have all the elements of your business plan. So why are you stressing yourself with that? Go and download the business canvas model. It's on Google. Put it in there, and that's your business case. Just by putting it in there, you can see whether or not your goals are valid, right? We need to be more scientific with the way that we do things. What do you do there? First of all, it asks you for your value proposition. This dream you want to do, okay, fantastic. What is your value proposition? Who are you called to? What are you going to be giving them to eat? Whatever it is. And that's where you start. If you cannot really bring out that high level concept, that why, that reason for being, then really, where are you going from there? Because it is when you do that, you can then realize that, oh, this is my value proposition. That means that this is the problem I'm trying to solve. And this is the solution. And this is who I'm solving it for. So you need to be able to go through all those steps to even start to spend and expend energy and call people to come and work with you. But if you don't even know what it is that, what your unique points are, what is that reason why people would gravitate towards you? Why you above somebody else? Because honestly, there are many of us solving the same problem. There are many of us having solutions to that, to that same problem, right? So, but what is that, your uniqueness? That's what gravitates people towards you. That's what even drives your key activities. That's what drives your positioning, your packaging, your entry points into the market, everything, right? So we need to be able to, and I just say, and that's what it is. It is called business canvas model. Go and look at it. Go download it, guys, if you're listening to this afterwards. Fill it in. If you can fill that in, oh my goodness, already you see where you have a problem or where you don't have a problem, where you have something to even start with, or where you should just go and sleep and dream again. But you need to start with that. So that's how I use my validity, but I mean, if you're somebody who maybe you feel it's too technical, I mean, ask yourself from a place of empathy, right? If you look at the design model, it starts from empathy. Empathy says, what is the problem? What are these people really looking at? Is there something here? And again, it takes us to our STAR model, right? What is the situation? If you can really determine what the situation is and say, okay, what are the tasks? The tasks now drive you, right? Because those are the things you are going to do. These are the tasks I need to do. And then those drive into actions. If you cannot even determine the situation, which really is the problem, and how you connect to that problem is the task, then you cannot even bring out proper action points. Talk less of finding stakeholders, putting timelines to it. It will be impossible to do some of those things. So that's where I will start saying you should start with. If you can go and download the business canvas model, do that, fill it in. If you can't, then use the STAR. What is it, your situation? And again, they are both honestly really connected. What is this situation that I find myself, or that I find that I want to solve, this problem, this thing? How do I connect with it? If you really cannot find out the specific tasks that you're going to do that are measurable, then you don't have a case. And you need to, like I said, go back to bed and then wake up again with another dream. Yeah. I hope that helps, Mr. Rotimi.
Absolutely, because it's good to be able to separate invalid dreams from invalid people. And just to add to what you said, we also need people to recognize that while they're trying to identify these things, it doesn't mean that they're going to sabotage doing anything. It's just that the form at which the dream is not valid enough for pursuit or execution. So that's a question I'll now bring to Olusola Olumide. How do people treat their dreams more like prophecies? How can your dream empower you yourself?
Thank you, Rotimi. Um, it's like moving from inside to outside. Yes, I think it is okay not to really have the complete or the wholeness of what the dream entails. But however, it's like you want to get something and it comes out in prototype. You have step 1, step 2. You may not know their life, step 3, step 4, step 5. But something within you should be able to say, okay, this is where I'm going. Though I've not got clarity as to all I need to do. One thing is that you cannot afford to be laid back, or you are lazy about your dream. Of course, that dream may not see the light of the day. So for me, there is a saying in our local parlance: if you are the owner of the load, you have to carry your load from the heavier part before other people can help you carry your load. And it is in the place of battling that dream to reality. That's why you seek for help. All that KK has outlined now If somebody says he has a dream only for him to sleep in his room without going out, or is afraid to make mistakes, I get that person will not learn. So you go out, even though you are the owner of the dream, you cannot be the sole person to execute that dream, or else that thing is not a dream. The dream begins with one person, but execution is never left in the hand of one person. So as you move, you get clarity, others come to help you, it becomes clearer to you. You know, it's when you see men walking like trees, you know it could be very dangerous. So you need clarity, and as you get clarity, you are able to help people that are coming behind you. You are able to know who am I sent to, just like KK said, and you will know what to give and what not to give, so that there will not be a mismatch. So for me, uh, the waking up, the passion, the desire, the burning desire, then ability to go out of your way to ask questions and learn from others. Yes, you are the owner of the dream, but don't forget, you don't get the whole of the dream at once. You know, it's like revelation is usually progressive, even in spiritual matters. When you're able to scale through primary one, then primary two unfolds. It may be in the place of executing primary one, you are not getting class. Oh, now I understand. In the process, you are trying to execute, you are also learning. You are always a learner, so that you don't remain on the same spot or doing the same thing over the years without improvement. So for me, let there be burning desire, be vulnerable, at the same time be authentic, learn, and always have at the back of your mind that the vision or the dream may come from you, but the execution will never be left to you alone. Thank you very much.
That's
Thank you
powerful.
so much.
Powerful. Thank you, Mr. Olumide.
You guys are just spitting fire this morning, eh? Revelation is usually progressive. I want to ask KK. We're talking about achieving, not just dreaming, achieving your biggest dream yet. Should there be anything we should be afraid of?
Should there be anything? I mean, there are many things we should be afraid of, to be honest. But should we let that fear stop us? The question is no. So the first thing you need to be afraid of is making that dream vague. You honestly need to make it measurable. It needs to be specific, really specific. And I'm not joking here. So let me give an example. People say, oh, my dream is to have a school where children are well educated. And I ask them, what do you mean well educated? What exactly is well educated? Is education well? Well, I mean, what are you talking about? Right? And I say to them, you need to say to yourself, they need to have 10% in or above the global average in mathematics. That 10% above the global average means that you know what the global average is. And then you will make specific points to make them above the global average. That's a specific dream. It's so specific because you then know what you need to do to achieve it. So one thing is vagueness of dreams, that becomes problematic. Another thing is, like, honestly, like Olumide just said, assuming that you can do it by yourself. There's some bigs, and I say, I said to one of my mentors one time, she was saying to me that she was afraid of letting some of her team members know what happens in the business fully. And I said to her, I said, how many big businesses that have scaled have you seen is driven by one person? She was looking at me. I said, if you want your business to grow, you want your business to scale, you want your business to go to that place where you can step back and allow that, and that business begins to run itself, you're going to have to let people in. You cannot do it by yourself. And it's a go sticker to actually imagine that you can. So the first thing is saying it's not having a clear, specific dream. It's not even clear to you, right? So how do you even communicate it to anybody else? The second one is the assumption that you can do it by yourself. It's impossible. So you need to look for your stakeholders, look for what it is that needs to be done, what they need to do, and then plug them into that dream. I think the third thing is assuming that everybody's just going to accept that dream without you actually working to make it work. You know, sometimes we have a dream, nobody sees it. You know, in fact, even sometimes our family feels, no, now this is too much for you. They feel like they're helping us, but they're not. You know, because it then begins to feed our lack of self-confidence. You know, so be confident enough in yourself. sell that dream, be sure exactly what you're selling, and then you power on. So those three really are things I feel that we should take cognizance of. One is ensuring that the dream is specific. Two is understanding that you cannot do it by yourself. At some point, you need to let people in. So determine where you need to let people in. And then the third is assuming that everybody's just going to clap for you. It doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen that way. Even people that are your biggest supporters, at some point you might find that, you know, you need to break ranks, break circle, and go find that motivation from somewhere else, right? So it's really important that you understand that, and then understand that you're going to have to sell. Yeah. So those three.
Olushola, I'm sure you want to add
Your
to
volume is
that.
gone again. Or is it me?
Yes,
It's my network.
Rotimi. Oh, sorry. Yes, I think KK has succinctly captured it. I think the other angle I just want to touch on what KK has said. Thank God, because that was what came to my mind, that there are times you'll be afraid, but don't allow the fear to paralyze you. What I want to also add to what KK has said is the issue of everybody. Even when you are giving your best and you have done everything possible to make it work, everybody will still not believe, because we are not called to do the same thing. Some will not just be interested in that area of life. It's not because they are saboteurs. It's not because they don't wish you well. It doesn't just resonate with them. However, I use this terminology most cases in religious circles. And I will tell you, I say, come. You think you are the one God asked you to do this, you say yes. I said, God is not going to hold your leader responsible. You are the one God will hold responsible for not fulfilling that which he gave you to do. The reason for that is this: you are in a particular cycle. They feel, no, we don't do this here. But God has called you to go and do that same thing. They say we don't do it here. And you don't want to lose your position in that circle. And you chose to remain in that circle and not going for the bigger vision, bigger dream that God has called you. At times, some groups, association we find ourselves, is just a learning curve for us to transit to where we are going by and by. We need to learn one or two things from that place, which will be instrumental to that which we are actually called to do. If you don't realize that, you just stay in that place, it appears to be a comfort zone. You are used to the terrain. You don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to go and start afresh. However, if you remain in that place, that person remains almost perpetually subservient. A very good example, I tell people. And at times, God could be very merciful. Even in businesses, it disorganizes our language like that of Tower of Babel, so that we can go to our different places and better humanity. If it doesn't confuse our language, we'll remain there, will not spread, will not achieve more, and will be celebrating mediocrity unknowingly. Thank you very much.
Wow. Achieving your best dream yet. Um, I think that we need to just address one point, and I want KK to address that. There's this single shot fever that sometimes comes to people, where people think that this is just the only chance they've got, and how do we address that single shot fever? Because of that, a lot of people drift into this perfectionist mode. A lot of people drift into being immobile because they're just too calculative. They just have this one shot. They are not someone like KK. You see, KK is up doing several things, blah blah blah. How do we get into that mode to help people overcome the single shot fever?
See, Rotimi, I might come at it from a different angle. Not everybody is a dreamer. Joseph, not once, to be honest with you, dreamt, right? The only times where he dreamt, it got him into trouble. But you know what those dreams were doing? Those dreams were moving him to the place where he became a dream carrier, a burden bearer. And people just need to get that. The dream that moved Joseph to prominence was somebody else's dream that he helped to execute. Some people just need to get that. Sometimes your biggest dream and the biggest thing that you can do is to be part of a team, is to be the goalkeeper, right? Is to be the one that passes the ball to the person who scores. And that is okay. And I think we need to get that and get it good. Honestly. And it frustrates me to no end when everybody keeps feeling like they need to be in the. Sometimes that's not what you are meant to be doing. You're meant to do something else. And so that's the first thing that I would say. Are you truly meant to even be in that driver's seat? Or are you the one that is meant to carry the vision, be the burden bearer, and move? And I can tell you this for a fact, Rotimi, I have several people who I mentor who, to be honest, they've tried to start businesses and they've failed at it and spent several monies. But when they are connected to somebody else's dream and that person is saying, do this, do this, do this, they fly. And even in that flying, they can then begin to find their own expression within that person's dream. And I'm like, maybe that's where you're meant to be, because all the other things that you're meant to do to make a dream actually have wings or legs to walk, you just are not able to. Will you be able to maybe sometime later in life? Perhaps. But right now, if that's not where you are meant to be, then just stop and be in that space where you need to be. Having said that, there are many buses in the bus stop, very many. And so the one you want to jump on may move away. Doesn't mean that another one is not coming. The reason why you didn't get on that bus in the first place could just be that you didn't, somebody else was faster than you and took the last seat, right? So what you then need to do is what? Grow your skill set, grow your content, grow your conviction, so that even when somebody else is shoving you out of the way when the next bus comes along, you're so strong in what you believe in that you can shove back and get on that bus. But again, having said that, there are times where you have to struggle to make your dream a reality. But you honestly do need to have the conviction that is what you're meant to be doing, not because you're conditioned to do it, either by a mentor, by a coach, by society, by family. You need to have those convictions by yourself. If not, when the going gets tough, you would find that it's easy to hop off the bus and find another bus. I hope I haven't over derailed the conversation.
No,
Back to you, TV.
Finding another bus. I like that fact. Finding another bus, or better still, find another sedan or an SUV around the corner. But don't enter one chance. That's the most important thing. All right, so let's hear your last words, Olushola Olumide, on the show today.
Thank you. I think Kiki has given us enough to ruminate over this morning. Yes, as dreams, they are valid. Also, they are in layers. You want to also find out where you fit in the big global dream, or not that big whatever. But for me, I would say whether you are a CEO or you are a trainer, excellence should be a way of life. If ever you're going to pass your biggest dream, it is like you said, that if you are unfaithful in another man's soul, who will give you that which belongs to you? So part time, because every opportunity you have to engage to do a particular thing, you are also learning. So don't do it. Don't be shoddy. Don't be lazy. Don't be a loafer. Give your best and learn something from that place, because by and by, when you want to start your own, those experiences may come, and it is good to dream very big, and there is nothing wrong in being afraid, but don't let that afraid paralyze you. So you can still move on, and of course you can also bat your dream in piecemeal, in piecemeal, and eventually it add up. Thank you very much.
Okay, KK, last words.
I would just like to reiterate what Olumide said. Dreams are in layers. Know where your layer is, know where you are right now. Are you in that phase of awareness? If you are, then don't assume that you're in the space of mastery, because you're just going to be really frustrated. So know what level you are at, and then actively work towards moving to the next level. Thank you so much, Mr. Rotimi.
Thank you so much. We've had a great experience today. We've learned a lot. And I believe that people out there were listening to us and will catch this session much later. We'll have some call to action, some things that they need to do. It's been a great one. Thank you, Olushola Olumide, for joining us and sharing your thoughts. Thank you, KK Fajai, for joining us and sharing your thoughts. And we hope that people out there will begin to go for their dreams and not just go for them, but achieve their best and their biggest dream yet. And we'll be here tomorrow, God willing, same time, and we'll have another exciting episode of the Good Morning Education Show. But before we leave, we will not leave without our usual payoff line, which is what we're going to do at the count of 2. So ready? 1, 2, go.
It's always
It's a
a
good
great
morning
morning
on the
on
Good
the
Morning
Good Morning
Education.
Education Show.
Education Show.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.